Hi, Crosspoint family. As an elder team, we have been continually praying and discussing how the Lord is calling us to pursue this mission that we are on of bringing glory to God by making disciples of Jesus who live 3D together. And specifically as it relates to Sunday mornings, as that's a key rhythm in the life of a local church. And we've been talking about Sunday mornings now specifically for the last 6 months since COVID hit. And so it's led us to, we gather outside there during the summer for several weeks. In August, we moved indoors and created that second space in the shed as a video venue for overflow seating and just additional capacity on a Sunday morning. We're in a stretch right now where we have 3 Sundays in a row where we are hoping, Lord willing, weather permitting, for us to be able to be outside. September 20th, we were in the backyard. September 27th, we hope to be in the backyard again. And then October 8th, we will be outside at Upper Lake Eureka. Again, weather permitting. If weather is poor, then we'll obviously be inside. And yet we know, we live in Illinois, we know that cooler temps and winter is around the corner. And so the shed won't be a viable option for us to be able to gather for that second space. And so what's the solution? Well, as we've all experienced in 2020, there are, in a variety of ways and areas beyond just the church, there are no perfect solutions with nothing but pros in the pro column and no cons in the con column, if you will. Heather and I years ago were at a leadership conference, and the pastor who was speaking talked about this quote. He said, "The tension is good, and the tension is to be managed, not resolved or removed." So he compared it to a guitar string. The right amount of tension leads to melody and harmony and music. If you remove that tension, if you resolve that tension, then music goes away. A broken string occurs. We live in a variety of tensions in life. The tension between work and life, for instance. If you remove that tension, it means you're either a workaholic and you're neglecting your soul or your family or your personal life, or on the other side of things, it means you're idolizing your family or idolizing your personal life and you're not working as worship unto the Lord. And so the tension is good. It leads us to depend upon the Lord in that. We live in a variety of tensions in life, even as a New Testament church. And the tension is good. The tension is not intended to be removed or resolved, but rather managed and lived out in a way that leads to melody and harmony, like that guitar strings. So in 2020 and for many years ahead, we are seeking to live out biblical commands such as gather faithfully as the church, love your neighbor and be a witness to the community, make disciples, be on mission, honor and pray for those in authority, love one another within the family of God, maintain the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. And so as we think about how to approach Sunday mornings in the months ahead, we have been considering a move to offering 2 services on Sunday mornings. This is not a perfect solution, as I said before. There are drawbacks to this, and yet as an elder team, we see there's also potential blessing and benefit for us as we continue to seek to live 3D, devoted to Jesus, dedicated to one another, and driven to reach people in the months ahead. This is not a set in stone plan. If we're going to go this route, we need a lot of buy-in and engagement from the church as a whole, an all-in type of mentality. Thus, we are asking you to spend 5 minutes and complete the survey, the link that you have found on this email. That will help us tremendously to shepherd with wisdom and creativity and love. So here would be the layout of a Sunday morning. Services would be at 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., and they would last an hour each. We'd still be streaming a Sunday service. The format of each service would be the same and yet change slightly from our existing format. For instance, we'd sing 3 songs at the beginning of the service and not at the end of the service. That would allow the worship team to leave if they wanted to after that first worship set in the 10:30 service. We anticipate creating some sort of reflective prayer time at the end of each service after the word is being preached, that we would have a time to be able to respond to that in some way yet. So 9 a.m. service. masks would be required, face coverings would be required. In July, when we surveyed the church, 20% of the households that responded required, or desired, I should say, a mask required venue. We would anticipate this service would be smaller, and so the attendees would be able to really physically distance well, and as well as the church, the property, the building is at its cleanest, obviously, at the beginning of a Sunday morning at that 9 a.m. The 10:30 service, masks would be optional. They'd be suggested, welcomed, that kind of verbiage, but not required. In July, 80% of the households that responded to that survey when we talked about reopening were willing to attend a mask optional venue. As a result, we would anticipate this being a larger gathering similar to the past several indoor Sunday mornings that we've had. What about sun chasers? Well, as you might have seen or heard or experienced, we are currently understaffed in our volunteers in sun chasers, leading to classes being combined, volunteers taking extra Sundays, and those kind of things. We don't want to see our sun chasers team and those volunteers burn out. And so as a result, we'd be unable to offer full or normal sun chasers in both services. And so going off that summer survey of nearly 100 households responding, then 80% being willing to attend a mask optional environment, we'd offer sun chasers in that 10:30 gathering. We'd match the protocols in sun chasers to those in the living room, so there'd be consistency. So in sun chasers, we'd move to a mask optional approach. Again, encouraging, welcoming it, but not requiring it. We'd continue to follow other protocols that are in place, whether it be temperature checks or volunteer screening checks, those that serve those mornings, or encourage those who are ill, have symptoms, those kind of things, to remain home, spread out the best we can, and those kind of things. Part of this survey is to help us also gauge how many sun chaser households would prefer that 9 a.m., which would then help us be able to serve and minister to those households and again, be able to shepherd with wisdom, love, and creativity. So some 2 service opportunities that we've talked about as a team. Well, our Sunday morning capacity increases. We are able to welcome more people of various risk tolerances to in-person worship on Sunday mornings. We believe, and I think we probably all experienced this to some degree in 2020, but we would all agree that in-person is far superior to watching a screen or joining online. So we want to be able to create as much space as possible for people to be able to gather in person. Some other benefits. We get a consistent Sunday morning rhythm over the course of several months through the duration of winter. We don't believe this 2-service plan is probably an indefinite plan at Crosspoint, not for the size church that we are. We do believe there's benefit to it as we think about the plan through the winter. Another benefit, Crosspointers who do serve in sun chasers have the ability to attend one service and while serving in the other. And right now, obviously, that's not an option. Some challenges, a couple challenges that we've talked about. Some volunteers, AV, worship, first impressions, common grounds, these kind of volunteers serving twice on a Sunday morning on the days they are scheduled. We'd also be separated in 2 services on Sunday mornings, and yet in our current situation with in-person, living room, video in the shed, those kind of things, we are, in a sense, already separated in 2 different spaces. So thanks for taking time to watch this and complete the survey. Reach out to an elder or myself if you have additional thoughts, questions, creative ideas. If you can complete your survey over the next week, that would be a big blessing. By September 28th, if you could do that, that'd be a huge blessing. Allow us time as a team to be able to pray and review and discuss and really seek the Lord in this. As I've been sharing over the past several months, since we were online in March to now, my prayer has been that the Lord would be strengthening and building his church. From my vantage point, I see evidences of that taking place. And now we're just continuing to pray that those evidences would continue. And so would you join us in praying that way, that the Lord would strengthen and build his church for the mission that we've been called to. I love you, church.